Hello everyone, my name is DecaLink, the trained unprofessional, and welcome back to the top 20 favorite visual novels. It's not the top 20 best, it's just my top 20 favorite visual novels that I've played on this channel. Now we are on to the top 10, and I can't wait to get into saying the good things, because these all are games that I really like. But before I get into that, as the last one had a fucking way too long prelude, I wanted to quickly acknowledge something that I feel like gets overlooked a little bit. Something that constantly astounds me about these visual novels is the amount of people that winds up working on them. In a lot of the cases, it's usually one, maybe two, or even a small team of people that are working on these games, but largely it is a small amount of people working to create a story that they really feel passionate about. And I really feel like the amount of credit that goes towards these developers is not enough. For stories that have impacted so many people and have given so many people wonderful memories and characters that they will treasure forever, they do deserve your support. Even if you can't go to their individual Patreons and give them $1 billion. If you can donate a little bit, that'd be fantastic. But even just sharing, getting the word out there, having more people exposed to their work and the stuff that they have worked on for years, trying to share the story with the world, it would mean the world to these people. So if you can, please do. In the description you'll find playlists to all of the games I'm about to talk about, and in each episode in those playlists will be links to where you can find the games at their Patreon. And yeah, share the word, which is not the bird. And yeah, thank you all very much to all the developers whose my personal thoughts on them will not affect the rankings, as I said many times in the previous episode, and all of the disclaimers and whatnot from the previous episode still apply. The game rankings on this list are only solely based on my experience playing the games, so don't take it as a sign of what I think about the developers or any business practices or anything like that. It is just the games themselves that determine where they are on this list. So without further ado, let's do the do and get on with this shit with number 10. This half of the list is so positive and I can't wait to fucking do it. So let's start the positivity off with number 10 being The Pirate's Fate. This game is an unlikely hero story all centered around character transformation. Literal character transformation, all with the backdrop of a pirate story looking for treasure. What's not to love about that? The game runs on a different engine to Ren'Py, so getting it to record was a bit of a fucking nightmare. But besides that, there is so much for this game to be explored, and so much that the game offers for players to enjoy that honestly I couldn't cover it all in one playthrough, let alone a summary. The replayability factor of this game is phenomenal. There's so many different branching paths to go down. What more can I say? Fucking check it out. It's great. Number 9 is everyone's favorite cat god game gone mad. It's Nekajishi. Fucking Nekajishi. I have always been a fan of the real life meets fantasy trope, and when it's done well, it is a joy to watch stuff unfold. And while this game isn't my favorite example of that trope, it is a really good one. I'm sure the idea of all-powerful beings vying for your affections has creeped into your dreams or fantasies once or twice. It's normal. This game takes that concept and oft-used fantasy and adds to it a bit by giving each of the 3 main gods an ulterior motive to trying to seek your affections. Some more innocent than not, but none completely and utterly by itself pure. There's no definitive good or bad characters. Some characters are more good or more bad, but everyone is more fleshed out than that, and it leads to more of a dynamic character interaction between all 3 of the gods and the main character, which by himself is not just your standard milquetoast white bread ass boring fucking main character. Oh shit, did I fucking fade out for a second? Sorry about that. But either way, your main character, they're a dance student. They're not just some stuffy business, I'm trying to get my degree and get a career. Like, they're trying to pursue their passions in something that isn't typical. And they are just kind of like a down on your luck, typical fucking college student, but they are dealing with pressures from their family and the idea of trying to pursue a career that isn't traditionally financially stable or even that viable, but it's something that they want to do and is something that they're trying to figure out. And then all of a sudden the fucking gods show up, and Jesus, there's a lot to digest, but it is sure as shit not boring. So while you can relate to the main character and even to the all-powerful gods, there are some negatives. They had to do that fucking ending, didn't they? They had to shoehorn sex in there somehow, and boy did they fuck it up. Without spoiling it, the solution to fending off the big bad at the end of the game was essentially goddamn god rape. In the Steam version, it's just a kiss, but that's still an unwanted and unsolicited forced sexual action. But it's not as bad as god rape. The self-aware DLC, while cute, did not get the bad taste out of my mouth from that fucking ending. So, there's that. But other than that, it's a pretty good game and worth checking out. Just forewarned. That does happen. But I can honestly say that a bad ending shouldn't spoil the entire experience. Do you hear that, Game of Thrones fans? Oh, hot takes! The previous half of this list, 20 to 11, was littered with examples of games that either there wasn't a lot to play of, or I just hadn't played a lot of them. So it might be surprising to see a game that only has, to my recollection, I think just 2 episodes on this channel ranked so high. But if a game that I haven't played a lot has that much of an impact on me, I must say something about the game. Number 8 is Adastra. This game's concept is outstanding. It already takes the exotic ancient Egyptian culture and it adds to this like intergalactic space traveling power struggle thing where Earth was maybe part of this, trying at least to be part of this other council of big fucking groups of planets that we don't even know about, and holy shit, like, talk about taking shit and putting it on its head. Fuck, man, this takes reality as we know it and turns it on its head. This game also is one of the only ones that dares to try to explain where the fuck furry characters would fit into this world. The characters are so enjoyable, even the ones you're not even supposed to like. They're fun, they're funny, they're just enjoyable, whether they're being bad, good, indifferent, whatever. It's just an enjoyable game. Even the art, like the art isn't the best art, but it's oddly charming and pleasant to look at. And the scenery is nice and well drawn. It's just a very nice fucking game with some stuff that will grab you in terms of plot and character development and it won't let go. It just fucking play it. Just play this fucking game. Do yourself a favor and play this fucking game. It is really good and I can't wait to get to the fucking update that I know is there, but I haven't gotten to it yet. And holy shit, I want to play it. I want to fucking play it. But anyway, I promise this list is not just going to be gushing, because that is obnoxious, and no one wants to sit through God knows how many minutes of that. But yeah, I can totally see this game rising in the ranks on this list after I update it like half a year from now, and have played more of the game. I can't wait to do so. Number 7 is probably the most mainstream and well-known visual novel that I've ever played on this channel, and very likely you don't even know that I've played it. It's the only other visual novel on this fucking list and on this entire channel that has entirely human characters. Human in brackets, of course. It is, and I don't think many people would dare to say it isn't, the single most innovative use of the RenP engine that I have ever seen and that has ever been done. Ladies and gentlemen, number 7 is DokiDoki Literature Club. I cannot and would not even dare to try to explain why a game that looks like this is so fucking good. On the surface, it just looks like it's just standard anime girls. What's so special about that? But don't rule this game out. Do not... Oh, you have to experience this game to play it. It's like Undertale. You can't just watch someone play it. Maybe you can. But to experience playing this game like Undertale is unlike any other way you could ever experience this game. You have to play it yourself. It challenges the very mold of gaming and reality as we know it, and it scared the shit out of me in a way that, like, it's not jump scares or like holy shit like monster movie fucking scary. It fucking, I have paranoid schizophrenia, as I've mentioned before, and this fucking game messed with me to a degree that I lost sleep for days. I've grown to love it now, and even in the moment I knew like what was going on, but I couldn't get it out of my head, man. Just bear in mind that warning that plays at the beginning about who should play it. Don't ignore that. It's for real. Be careful with this one. From there, going back to our wheelhouse of furry fun a bit, number 6 is Major Minor. Hey, this doesn't look anything different than what we should expect from this channel. Holy shit. I will say there is a bit of controversy about this particular game in the furry community because this game does something quite different that not a lot of people agree with. It is 100% clean. Oh, completely sex-free. Nary a swear word. It wouldn't say something bad about your grandma. It's downright PG. But don't let that fool you. That does not mean that this game is some kid show. Another game made by Clace, as I said on the previous list, staple of those games are complex and interesting storylines. This is another game that challenges what it means to die and what life means, and it twists that into this very multifaceted, multi-planet wide space and time traveling fucking holy shit. It is one of the most complicated plots outside of like FNAF and Kingdom Hearts, and it's up there. It's up there. And that's not even to say anything of the characters, which are all fleshed out and all enjoyable and unique and fun and special in their own way. And there are choices in this game that dramatically change how things go. You can change the entire fate of the universe if you want. It is fucking incredible how this game manages the concept of choice. And there's a lot of intricate storytelling to go along with it that really speaks to the meta nature of what they were trying to convey here. That it doesn't shove it down your throat that they're trying to say something profound. It just says it, and you enjoy it when you do. So very much, this game deserves to be played, and I really hope that Winds of Change is anything like this. The convoluted storytelling at the beginning of Winds of Change is not lending me to believe that, but hopefully, once you get past the beginning, it will be more like this, and not so much like it has been. We're in the top 5 now, and from here, the ordering gets a lot more difficult. Every game on this top 5 holds a very special place in my heart, and I will remember the experience of playing these games for forever. For whatever forever means. Number 5 is a newcomer, another game that I've only played a little bit, but with that little bit, it has done more in those 2 episodes I've played of it than most games have done in an entire series, and it honestly astounds me every time I think of how much is done with this game. Number 5 is the Hayseed Night. All joking aside, the Hayseed Night is by far one of the most charming games, period, I've ever played in my life. It is fully voice acted and animated to near perfection. It is funny beyond compare. It is... oh my god. There's so much good to say about this game, but I'm gonna do it clinically, calmly. I really like this game. The comedy and drama in this game is stellar and is on par and stands with the best of any media I've ever seen. I got something in my eye. I'm cursed with long and luscious eyelashes. The visual and auditory art in this game is charming beyond compare, and the characters are developed and expressed with absolute majesty. The focus of this game is on a character trying to find the secret of his lost past, and the wonder of a character who holds the key to those lost memories, as well as his heart, but he won't admit that. They also hold the key to his unknown potential, and I don't know where that's going, but I very much look forward to it. It seems like there's a lot more to this character than what seems on the surface. The only reason this game is as low as it is, which at number 5, it's not low, but there you go. The only reason it's there is not because of anything wrong this game does. To my knowledge and my recollection, this game doesn't do anything wrong. The problem is that there's only chapters 1 and 2. Chapter 3 is in the works, but it ain't there yet, but God am I excited to see it. This is a game whose development is to be watched carefully and enjoyed thoroughly, and I look forward to seeing more from it. Pure emotion and heart will bring a story to life more so than any trope or character arc could ever do. The heart behind number 4 is the reason why it's there. Number 4 is Tennis Ace. On the surface, Tennis Ace appears to be yet another visual novel based in a furry school in a weirdly English-speaking Japanese town, all centered around a specific theme. But to limit this game down to those mere elements would be doing this game and yourself, as a potential viewer, a huge disservice. Few games available today on any platform put as much care into developing their characters than Tennis Ace does. Every route is special and unique and different, and all the while your main character is not just along for the ride. You play as the main character who is struggling with a sense of broken identity, a crumbling sense of potential and a passion that they've had since childhood after suffering a devastating loss. They were a shooting star that has only now begun to fall, and it is through your character interactions and what you do in the game that will determine how hard this star will fall and where. And even if it continues to fly, I don't know how to fucking make an analogy out of a shooting star, but the point is, what you do in this game matters not only to the characters you're talking to, but to the main character's arc by himself. They have a story, more so than just who you get with. And that is very, very unique in this genre. So if you want an example of how heart can become the guiding force behind storytelling, this is that game. Many novels on this list explore lust and various expressions of emotion, but no game quite matches the expression of the sheer magnitude of what true love really means, and how complicated that concept can be. Quite like my number 3, the ever-prolific and seemingly never-ending extracurricular activities. The up and down relationship I have had with this game is unlike any I have ever played. There was a time when I took none of this game seriously at all. When I first started playing, I was actually being quite a dick and not giving it a chance. And I have apologized in the past for that, but again, I am sorry. Yes, the game is long, but in order to see the exact ways your character impacts the lives of these other characters, it isn't just like, oh, you were nice to me one time, let's go fuck. Like, it's small changes that happen over a long period of time, and yeah, that could be seen as a criticism, and even Bri thinks that the game is a little too long-winded. But when it comes to how your character affects the dateable characters, you see it not just in the way that they feel about you, but in the way they interact with their individual stories and their roles and the struggles that they have. They all have their own struggles, and your impact on those things has to be seen over a long period of time in order for it to be fully realized. That's one of the reasons why I say that this game really shows what love is, because it isn't just something that happens over a small period of time. It's something that develops. It's something that seeps into every facet of your life. And you realize, when you realize you're in love with someone, that your life has become attached, not just because of them, but because of how they affect everything else. It's like a root They have rooted themselves into your heart, and in a good way. The storytelling and character development in this game is deceptively smart. It lures you in with the promise of maybe a fun little romp, and then you get really invested, seemingly out of nowhere, but you find yourself really caring about these characters and wanting to see more of them, and being more invested in what happens to them, more so than just, do you fuck the coach or not? Like, it's more than that. And if this game truly goes on forever and never ends, I will be glad to play it until the end of time. Oh, the top 2. Oh, we're at the top 2. Oh, hell. Oh, fucking hell. The hardest part of deciding a number 1 is relegating one of these to a runner-up. Here we go. My number 2 favorite visual novel of all time is none other than the one that started it all. For me, at least. The one-man project. The bedrock of my love of this genre. Repeat. Yet another motherfucking game set in a school. What the fuck? Obviously, I just love school. That's my favorite. Repeat is an absolute emotional roller coaster from the beginning. There isn't a moment in this game that isn't somewhat unsettling. And even when you start to kind of get comfortable with something doesn't feel quite right. Or a character does or says something that doesn't feel all that normal. I used to get very mad at this game because it doesn't seem to explain anything. And yes, there are problems with the beginning of this game, even acknowledged by Shirokoi, the dev of this game. And that's probably the reason why this game is at number 2. It's not much of a reason. Even the beginning of this game is great, and I absolutely love it. But the beginning needs a bit of a rewrite, at least with some of the language. And one word in particular. You know what word it is. Your main character is surrounded by a cast of misfits. This group of friends is the most gripping group of people in all of these games. It is a troupe of the chronically misunderstood and constantly fucked over by life. And how each character story is played out, you not only see in your route, but in all the other ones. And in the extended prologue, before you even do get to make your character choice of which route you're going to go down, you really get a sense of who is what and where and why. And that is a very important thing. Although, as I mentioned with the early writing things, this story has been in development since Shirokoi was in high school. And so there are some things that don't quite make sense. The biggest problem out of all of these is the early sex moments that are, according to the dev, non-canonical, but they're in the game and are never referenced ever again. I get why they're there. It's kind of a fan service thing. Keep players who are not as invested in the story still playing, but their presence in the game is jarring, makes no sense, and the game would be much better off without it. I know people like the sex stuff. Shirokoi loves drawing the dicks. But seriously, these early sex scenes are a detriment to the storytelling. I will always believe that, but I'm not going to be able to stop anything from happening in this game. I don't decide what is done in this game, and I shouldn't be. So, whatever happens, happens. But that is kind of just a nitpick, really. And all nitpicks aside, the emotional connection I felt to these characters and the story is only rivaled by one other game, and the observant have figured out already which one that is. The impact of the story and the conclusion of same has only started to be realized, and I could not possibly be more invested. So there's no need to draw it out. You know, it's process of elimination. There's only one left, and if you've been paying attention, you already know which one it is. Number 1 is Echo. I think my fucking kitchen light just flickered. Wouldn't it just be the way that as soon as I mention Echo, it didn't do it that time, but as soon as I mentioned this game, that something spooky would fucking happen, huh? Jesus. The horror of DokiDoki. The character attention of extracurricular activities. The unsettling nature of repeat. The charm of the Hayseed Night. All amplified and combined into the single most unique and interesting story I've experienced in any form of media or anything. There are parts of the story that seem a bit odd or off-center, or like, why is it there? But that is part of the game. That's part of the storytelling of it. The whole game is centered around what is and isn't supposed to be. What is and isn't even there. Like, it is a story that questions everything. It questions your choice, your sanity, your interpretation of the events. What is happening to these characters as they develop? Are they being possessed? Is there a spirit there? Is it just a haunting, or is there an evil act present? Is there someone doing these things? Is there multiple people doing these things? Is the town in on it? Are they completely innocent? Are they not at all innocent? Who is doing what, when, where, and why? It is all up for grabs, and it is all being changed constantly. All in a way that makes the most gripping storytelling possible. The game takes place over 1 week. Just one. That's all it needs. And in a weird callback to the very beginning of this list, our bottom 20, this game is about a character that goes back to their small town, hometown, to seemingly visit their friends that are there. But there's more to it than that. Thankfully. The comparisons between these two games end there. The style of storytelling is beyond compare. It is putting you in the role of a pre-established character in a way that you don't really get. Like, it defies explanation, because you know that you're playing Chase. The main character's name is Chase. But there are times where what is happening to you. You specifically. The meta terror of choices being robbed from you and Chase when they refer to Chase and then to you. It's very surreal. I don't want to just focus on the horror aspect, because there's a lot of horror aspect of this game, because there's a lot more to it. There's a whole cast of your friends that are there in this setting that is this small town that is all set to a very appealing art style and a musical score that complements it perfectly. Echo is a story that is entirely unique and beyond compare, but not one that can be enjoyed by everyone. It is a horror game after all, and one of the most effective I have ever played. And not just because, boo! Like, it's there's more to it. And because of that, you have to really be invested in order for it to work. So if there's anything that can be said about this game that is negative, it's that not everyone can enjoy it. And that's nothing wrong with the game, because honestly, I can't think of anything really wrong with this game. I don't see it doing anything wrong. Yeah, there's some parts that, like I said, seem a little odd, but that's why they're there. To be odd, to be unsettling, to be not what you expect, because there's nothing about this game that plays into your expectations. There's nothing there that should be anticipated or expected or play by the book. There's nothing that should be foreseen. It is all a surprise. It all happens to you. So if you're even remotely interested in a scary story that is not just boo, spooky, jump scare city, if you want something that'll really get to you, that you have to care about, and you will care, and then takes advantage of that care, it makes you feel what's happening. If you want that experience, even remotely, play this game. Read the story. Get invested. You won't regret it. I promise you will never get the experience that you'll get from this game from any movie, game, song, campfire story, decorative handkerchief. Nothing can match it. And nothing ever will. At least until I do this list again at some point. We'll see. So, there you go. There's my top 20 favorite visual novels from the ones I have played on this channel thus far, mid-2019. Let me know what you think. Where do you place them? These ones, any others that you want me to play? Do you think I'm full of shit? Whatever. Just let me know in the comments or on Twitter or whatever the fuck. I'm sure once I get to play more games of this type, I'll be updating the rankings, and when I play more of the ones that are already on this list, maybe they'll go up, maybe they'll go down, who knows. But that being said, until next time, and until I can come back and start streaming and doing whatever again, until then, ladies and gentlemen, I have been the Trained Unprofessional, and an outro, still haven't figured it out. This is the same sitting as I did the last episode in, so ladies and gentlemen, I have been the Trained Unprofessional saying, fare thee well. Bye, everyone. I can't do outros, it just doesn't work.